Hey guys, Supersonic123 aka John here. Welcome to episode 30 of the Everton Career Mode. In this episode, you might find that my audio feels a bit different because, of course, I have a cold right now, so that alters my voice a little bit. So I'm sorry for that. Obviously, I wish I could control it, but that's just how it goes. And so for today's episode, we have three games. We go away to the bowling ground to take on West Ham in the league, all three games in the league, and then 2 days after that, we play Aston Villa at home, and then we play Chelsea at home, and then we're into the January transfer window. So, as for transfer targets and all that, I don't have a lot. We do have a good bit of money left in the transfer kitty because we only are signing for minimal in the summer. But either way, Aidan McGeady would open the scoring in this game against West Ham against his former side. But so that's disappointing. And again, West Ham were trying to win the back of it with Michael Antonio's shot being well saved by Tim Howard and tipped away for a corner. And West Ham really were piling on the pressure in this first half, as you see the fantastic finish from Aidan McGeady, and that one was nearly from Michael Antonio, but it was saved well by Tim Howard. And it was West Ham 1, Everton 0 at half time, but then we will go in search of an equaliser in the second half. Mason Holgate picking out Ross Barkley, spreads it out wide towards Gerard De La Feu. He takes on Aaron Cresswell and beats him. I believe that's Oliveira, and the ball is picked up by Lukaku, spread across goal, and then hammered into back on net by Ross Barkley to make it West Ham 1, Everton 1. We find the equaliser. Could easily have been a foul then on Gerard De La Feu by this Oliveira character. I'm not sure who he is. The number 4 there for West Ham. But the ball is picked up by Romelu Lukaku, and it is hammered right into the back of the net. Left-footed finish from Ross Barkley past the despairing Adrian to make it West Ham 1, Everton 1. So fantastic goal by Barkley, of course, and so that level the scores up. So West Ham would try and regain the lead with Nikita Jelavic finding Aidan McGeady. The ball eventually finds itself back at the feet of Jelavic, but his shot is saved well by Tim Howard again. And then Andre Carrillo goes down the wing for us. He's fouled by Mark Noble, but he picks the ball back up, gives it towards Ross Barkley, and his shot goes well wide in the end, although it was a good turn, but you see Mark Noble is booked for his original foul on Andre Carrillo. But again, quite an end-to-end match, both sides trying to regain the lead, but Mark Noble here for West Ham finding Michael Antonio, and Michael Antonio does indeed fluff his lines and shoot it well wide of Tim Howard's right post. And I think he had Tim Howard beaten as well. Tim Howard didn't even move for that shot. From the resulting goal kick, Howard would pick out John Stones, who would play the ball out of the defence, and he would spread the ball out wide towards Gerard De La Feu, who would take on Aaron Cresswell. He would beat Aaron Cresswell, getting around the West Ham man, and he would pull the ball back from the byline into Michy Batshuayi off the bench in stoppage time to make it West Ham 1, Everton 2. So a last minute winner for us. That's lovely, of course, to get a 19th minute winner. De La Feu with a fantastic run here beats Aaron Cresswell, gets the byline, pulls it back, and Michy Batshuayi simply had an open goal. He simply could not miss. Adrian was stranded in no man's land, and Michy Batshuayi only had the simplest of taps to back the net, and of course making it West Ham 1, Everton 2. So we would leave Upton Park with all 3 points following this performance. And to be honest, I wasn't very proud of our performance in the first half. I thought West Ham were far better, but again, in the second half we kind of regained our composure and eventually managed to get the win in the end. So that's lovely. And this is player training here for our young keeper Michael Johnson, Lewis Cook of Leeds United, who signed in the summer, and then Paul Robson, who's another youth player, of course. And then following that, we would go to take on Aston Villa at home at Goodison Park in the league, and of course we played a very weak team. We played basically our second string team. We made 11 changes for this game, I do think, against Aston Villa, because of course this fell just 2 days after a game at West Ham. That was a Christmas Eve fixture, and this was a Boxing Day fixture, so obviously it was a bit of a complication there. But then Stephen Naismith would open the scoring for Everton in this game. Well picked up by Tom Cleverley, gets past the Aston Villa defence, and he finishes with a plonk, making Everton 1, Aston Villa 0. You see Tom Cleverley here picking out Stephen Naismith. He goes past the Aston Villa defence quite easily, and finishes right into the corner past Mark 1, making Everton 1, Aston Villa 0. So obviously Naismith not a big part player for us so far this season, but of course he could turn out to be just that if he continues up with finishes like that. I'll tell you that much. So we take the lead, so obviously lovely, and Stephen Naismith gets his first goal of the season in the Premier League, and then. And then we were trying to double our lead with Stephen Naismith going forward, following a pass from Lewis Cook, but his shot goes well wide of Mark Bunn's goal in the end, and goes through the legs of the Aston Villa defender and goes well wide of the goal in the end. But then Aston Villa would look for an equaliser with Carlos Sanchez finding Gabriel Paul Lahore. He picks out Idrissa Gana Gueye eventually, and Idrissa Gana Gueye would finish right into the corner following the pass from Adama Traore, and Idrissa Gana Gueye makes it Everton 1, Aston Villa 1. So not we wanted to concede an equaliser like this to Aston Villa, but of course that's just how it goes in the end. A fantastic finish from Idrissa Gana Gueye. No offence for Bartolowski, our standing goalkeeper, but I felt our defence could have done better there. Tyus Browning didn't do the best didn't do the best, and obviously Ramiro Funes Mori couldn't handle or couldn't properly contain Idrissa Gana Gueye, allowing him to get the ball in. So following an Aaron Lennon corner here, Tom cleverly goes for the bicycle kick attempt, saved easily by Mark Button. Tom Cleverly obviously not known for his bicycle kicks, but the game would finish Everton 1, Aston Villa 1. But following that, we get this message from Ren Lukaku saying he would like to leave the club. So we basically have no choice in the upcoming January transfer window, but to sell him, which is obviously disappointing. We're not going to let him go for, I'd say, anything under £20 million, and we're definitely going to have to bring in a world class replacement, like a top player to replace him. And so following that, our Thursday night fixture would be between Everton and Chelsea. We would take on Chelsea at home, and we would get the first chance with Mohamed Besic picking out Ross Barkley, and his shot is saved well by Thibaut Courtois, but Lukaku rolls the ball to back net. However, he was adjudged to be offside, so the goal will not count. Following the pass from Mohamed Besic, Barkley did well with the shot. It was well saved and low down by Thibaut Courtois, but Lukaku was just a fraction offside on the follow-up. But then Chelsea would themselves try and find the lead with Willian easily picking his way past the entire Everton defence, just mugged the entire defence off, pushes past Tim Howard as near post. So that was obviously a kick in the teeth, that goal from Willian. The defence was very poor to give him that opening, and then John Stones had a poor attempt at a clearance or at a tackle to try and nick the ball off Willian, and of course Tim Howard I think could have done better at the near post to stop Willian from scoring that. But at half it would finish Everton 0 Chelsea 1 at half time, and Chelsea would attempt to double their lead here with Ruben Loftus-Cheek playing the ball out wide to Willian, and Willian would turn and go for a goal, but the ball in the end goes well wide of Tim Howard, the goal, and I think we stood up well to that one, but the shot was really nothing in the end. And then we would retaliate, but then Mason Holgate running into trouble there, giving the ball away to Pedro, I believe, and Pedro shot saved by Tim Howard, or if it's not Pedro, I apologise, and it is Pedro, and keeping the score at 1-0 to Chelsea. Obviously we don't want to concede a second goal, but the attempt at Pedro towards the near post was fantastically saved by Tim Howard. I can't tell you how many times he's bailed us out of jail, Tim Howard. And we would attempt to equalise here with Leighton Baines going round his man, and he rigs his way so well into the Chelsea defence, and then his shot pips the post. So that's frustrating. And following that, Chelsea are set through with Kennedy, and Kennedy makes it Everton 0, Chelsea 2. He just made his way past the entire defence, more or less, following the pass from, I believe, Marco Marin. And with only Tim Howard left to beat, Kennedy makes it 2-0 to Chelsea, and the young Brazilian gets himself a goal. So this is obviously not preferable to be 2-0 down to Chelsea, but of course I think Chelsea just were the better side in the day. And then Chelsea with another chance here, with actually Loic Remy going for a goal, but the shot is saved and plucked out of his own net by Tim Howard almost, with Chelsea just being completely dominant in the second half. I think we were better in the first half, but Chelsea were just utterly dominant in the second. Another effort there from Loic Remy, batted away well by Tim Howard, with The fantastic shot on the turn, but another fantastic save by Tim Howard. He had a stellar night, I'll be honest. And from the resulting corner, the ball would be passed short by Willian to Eden Hazard. Eden Hazard would pick out Thomas Callas, and his shot goes wide of the post. So it does finish Everton 0, Chelsea 2. So that's obviously not very nice, and obviously not preferable. But actually, we get a transfer offer for Romelu Lukaku, and we do counter offer at £20 million. So in the next episode, you'll see how that turns out. You'll also see games against Barry in the FA Cup, and I believe the other two games are against Leicester and we'll see in a minute. Leicester and Swansea, sorry. So we take on Leicester away and Swansea at home. So we'll see you for that tomorrow. Have a great day, everybody, and enjoy the next episode when it comes out. And I'll see you then.